All right, guys, welcome back for one of your last challenges. So we're gonna roll through the instructions really quickly. As a lot of y'all know and probably didn't like, you did not receive tree mail this morning, so you have no idea what's going on. Everybody needs to be in or around their kitchen area. And so the way this is gonna work, we are going to say an item. You're gonna run and go get that item. We're gonna keep track of who comes back last. If you come back last the most, you will be given a disadvantage for the next part of this challenge. The way you win immunity today for this challenge is the first person to completely down their cup and show us their tongue
and the empty cup
wins the necklace. So you show your tongue, you show the empty cup, you win the necklace. All right? If you don't keep it down, if you throw it up, the necklace is not yours. All right? So keep it down, drink it the fastest, show your tongue, scream you're done. First person to finish wins immunity. Survivors ready? Eat.
Stop! Cookie, mute Cookie! Shit, he threw up! He's out! Mute him!
Hey, I'm gonna be cleaning my mess up, so if you could tell me when to come back.
Oh my god.
Mute him!
Jemima, quit unity.
I told you I do this stuff. It was nothing. When that butter went down, it was over.
I'm horrified.
It was kind of good. That pickle juice slapped.
Jemima has won her way into the final four. You will not be able to be voted out tonight. The rest of you, Brian, Melena, Allison.
Good job, Jemima. Shit.
For one of you, the game will be over.
Wait, do I have time to clean up, or do you just want me here? Because
you didn't get a bucket or a trash can?
I had a sink, Melena, and it just went higher than I thought it would. Listen, it's on the walls. It looks like. Listen, it just looks like a baby came in shotgun blasting its poop. I don't know what to do.
Go brush your teeth, everybody.
Gross.
I'm disgusted.
Yeah. Hey. Oh God, the pain, the agony.
You okay, Cookie?
I'm hanging on by a thread, Missy. Oh man. See ya.
All right, guys. Before we get started with tribal council, let's go ahead and bring in some members of our jury. Joining us today, Sydney, Charlie, Meredith, and Crystal. Today, the winner of the challenge was Jemima. Jemima is safe and cannot be voted for. Brian, Melena, Allison, and Cookie. One of you will be going home tonight. The floor is yours. Go ahead.
The last 5 of us, I mean, we're definitely beasts, everybody here. And, you know, some of the people left here have very good connections with the people on the jury. Just throwing that out there. And I do think that people who've been on both alliances or just on both teams, like Cookie, you know, might have more friends on the jury side.
So are you saying that you are trying to vote Cookie out? What are you saying?
Yeah, I think that Cookie and Jemima, honestly, together have had a really good game. I think that they have better connections with the people on the jury. If we take Cookie out, then it ups everybody's chances of actually winning.
All right, Jemima, how does it feel to wear the necklace, buying your way into Final Four?
Honestly, it was everything. I know that, I mean, everyone at Final Five, everyone needs the immunity, but I know that I definitely was at the top of the list for needing it. And it felt so good to just like be able to take your own destiny in your hands and get yourself to Final Four, because it's not like I've not been great at challenges, and only for something weird like this could I be good at.
Perfect. Allison, finish us off.
I woke up this morning feeling so grateful that we have this game today. I'm going to miss it tomorrow for sure. Don't get emotional, but really enjoyed it with the jury as well. I'm going to say exactly what Melena said. I know the two of us were the ones you wanted to get out at the beginning of the game because for obvious reasons. Now I kind of think we're the ones you want to keep in because we either don't have any connections with the jury or we annoy them with our smiles. Something along that line. I'm just going to say the jury's not voting me.
All right. And with that, it is time to vote. All right, guys. It is now time to read the votes. We are past the point where you can play an idol. Here we go.
First vote. Milena. Cookie.
That's 1 vote, Milena, 1 vote, Cookie.
Next vote. Cookie. Milena.
We are now tied 2-2 with 1 vote left.
Next person voted out of Survivor Online Games. Milena.
Milena, the tribe has spoken.
Love you, Milena. Great game.
Great game.
You're
Great
awesome.
game.
Love you guys.
All right. All right, guys. Welcome back to your next challenge. This challenge determines who will wear the necklace and head into the final 3. That person will then have the power to take 1 person along with them. The last 2 people left will then battle it out for that last spot.
It's secret clue time. If you're playing in Missy and Marissa's online Survivor game, this is your secret clue. Screenshot that image of my new podcast episode, and that's the clue.
All right, we just had a really big challenge and somebody crushed it, completely destroyed everybody else. This person is now going to pick who he or she wants to take to the final 3, and the last 2 will go live with the puzzle. All right, Brian, you won, bro. So the big question is, of Cookie, Allison, and Jemima, who are you taking with you to the final 3?
There's only one person that I promised to take with me is Cookie.
Cookie, congratulations, you have made it to the final 3. So that leaves Jemima and Allison are gonna battle it out in a fire making challenge. And then after that, we're heading straight to final tribal council. Tell me how it feels, bro.
It's insane, truly. I expected to go home at 12 and 11, so to be in the final 3 is something I never anticipated, and to even win the challenge, let alone.
You won the challenge in a landslide. No one was anywhere near you. Just tell me about.
Pretty good.
And then walk us through why Cookie.
So I made a deal with Cookie about 3 days ago that I would take him because he's saved my butt so many times in this game that I wanted to sit next to him. And I truly feel like my game holds up enough that I could sway some votes my way from him.
Did you think that Brian would pick you to come with him?
I was 110% confident. I think Jemima would have taken me, and I think I would have been able to convince Allison to take me, and that just speaks to my social game. Brian, bud. Let's go! Let's go, baby! Oh, man! So much love for you, dude, for taking me.
Hey, same here, man. If you win, I'm so happy. So I knew.
Hey, same with you. You played a fantastic game, brother.
Thank you, man. For real. Same to you.
I'm so nervous. I feel like I got to put on an Oscar-worthy performance.
Me too, honestly.
You know?
All right, Brian, you won the necklace and you decided to bring Cookie. We're now gonna bring in the jury and then reveal who's gonna be coming in for that 3rd place seat, all right? Bringing in the jury now. Meredith, Jossie, Milena, Crystal, Charlie, Sydney. and Zach. All right, so Brian won immunity today, meaning that he has earned his way into the final 3. He decided to bring Cookie, and that means that Jemima and Allison had to battle it out in an 81-piece puzzle to earn the last seat. Bringing in the last member of our jury, Allison. Jemima destroyed the puzzle, putting Allison on the jury and earning the very last spot in the final 3. Congratulations, you are the final 3. Starting with Brian, who won the necklace, go ahead.
The social bonds I built at the beginning of this game are what got me through the pre-merge and allowed for people to put their full trust in me, knowing that I wasn't going to make the big moves. I was going to be behind the people that were. And I had to be a bigger asset than a liability. And that's what got me through those 2 scary votes where I could have easily been the person going home. But I knew that people had my back to play idols for me, and I knew that people were going to save me if there was a tie vote. And going through the game, I had so many people who were power players that were shields for me that I was working really closely with that I knew would be able to, people would be targeting before me. And I ended up winning 2 individual immunities and was able to play my idol for someone else, and someone played it for me. And along this game, I've just played with as much heart as I can, and I am really, really excited to be in this spot.
Cookie, please go next.
I knew that I'd be a big social player, and that's what I heavily relied on in this game. That's why I had to try and paint that there were bigger targets than me out there. And because of this, I played a near perfect game. I caught only 2 votes this whole entire time, and those 2 votes came at the final 5 vote. I had 0 immunity idols played for me that were real. I had 0 individual immunity challenges won, and I didn't need to win those at all because of the place that I stood in this game, because of the numbers that I had, and just sticking with those numbers at the right time.
All right, and then lastly, Jemima.
I talked about 2 important things: having a ride or die, people that I could trust no matter what, and then information. I played a very information-heavy game so that even if I didn't have the advantages or whatever was necessary to combat what was happening, I had the information to know what was happening before a lot of people did, and so I knew how to move forward even after whatever happened.
The jury will get to speak in the order they were voted out. Be respectful, listen, and try to answer their questions, because tonight their vote determines who wins this game. First up will be Charlie, aka Golden Boy.
Cookie, I want to know one big strategic move that you led by yourself.
At the merge tribe, I knew that I had to try and paint a big target, and it wasn't you immediately. Like, that's the vote everybody decided on. But I did try and paint those 3 girls that were working together as big targets, and the narrative of the votes was so heavily on them that it kind of let me slip in between the cracks and fly under the radar.
Thank you. Brian,
Yes,
you're
sir.
next. Can you explain how you didn't really ride coattails? Because I feel like you were with Josie, Crystal, and Talon for most of the game after the swap. And you didn't really have I don't think you had a hand in voting any of them out. So what was a big move, and how did you not ride their coattails?
Yeah, so I knew that Crystal, Yossi, and Tong were always going to have my back. And these are 3 incredible power players who make moves. And I knew that if 4 of us were making moves, we would be the first people to be targeted. So while they were making all the moves and orchestrating things, I was trying to build social connections with people behind the scenes so that once the 4 of us got targeted, it would be 1, 2, 3 with me being left in the game.
Jemima, I thought you played a really nice Sandra game as well as winning immunities, which is something really hard to do because a lot of people know how it works at this time. So as long as it wasn't you going home, you would be okay with that. Can you explain to me the main strategic bullet points behind your game and how it propelled you to not really have any strong set alliances, yet still make it as far as you did?
Sure. So my strongest alliance going into merge was Zach. We had been through a lot on that new Thunderbird tribe. So when I got to the merge, it was like the game just opened up for me. 2 kind of divisions. After your vote, 2 divisions opened up. A Sinister 6, and then kind of this, just to say, what became a younger person's alliance. At that vote where Brian didn't go, but I voted Brian, I knew that I had to backpedal quickly because my game blew up at that moment. So one big thing that I did was throw Meredith under the bus to Jossie and Crystal because I needed to do that for my game. By throwing Meredith under the bus, I basically assumed the position that Meredith had in having connections to both alliances. So I took Meredith out of that position and put myself in that position because that was the middle position that I needed. Throughout the rest of the game, I had connections to both sides. And at the end game, still having those connections to Allison and to Milena from New Thunderbird Tribe are what basically propelled me into the end.
Up next is Zach. Go ahead.
Real quick, I just want all of you to kind of sum up your style of play or the game that you play in one word or less.
Frictionless.
Social butterfly.
Unattached.
Meredith, go ahead.
All right. I just have one question. I would like each of you to answer it. Which one member of the jury do you think will vote for you?
Talon.
I'm thinking I got Zach's vote.
Allison.
Go ahead and unmute Crystal.
I respect all three of you for being in the end. You all played very, very amazing games. Congratulations. So I just want to know, like, what made you, like, who did you put on the jury? Like, what was the person that you put on the jury yourself?
Zach, oddly enough. So in that vote, I knew that there were going to be 3 votes Sydney. And so with Sydney, we were in a chat with like Sydney, Jossie, and myself, and to convince Sydney to put 1 vote onto Zach just in case she did have an idol. And she ended up playing her idol, and then it ended up being 1 vote Zach and 1 vote me. And I knew that Cookie and Jossie would save me in that case.
A player who I had a big impact on going to the jury was Milena. You know, I had been throwing her name out there for the longest of times. And when we finally came down to having a chance to kind of vote and get her out with the majority of numbers of me, Brian, and Jemima, I was more than happy to vote her name just because she had been playing so good.
I'd say Meredith, by far biggest Meredith. Meredith was definitely a turning point. Meredith was somebody, had I kept her, if Meredith hadn't gone home and Crystal had gone home, my game is entirely different. And I'm not sure that I get here because keeping Meredith wasn't the same as keeping Crystal because the shield value, it wasn't the same at all. So yeah, I'd say if I had to choose one name, I'd say Meredith.
Okay, so first I'd just like to say something real quickly to my fellow jurors. This might be controversial, but I'm just going to encourage all of you guys to look beyond just plain strategy. Who did you get out? What move was yours? Because I truly believe the biggest strategists are sitting in the jury. So I'm personally going to focus on more of the social aspects and the general philosophy towards the game. So I would encourage you guys to do the same. So Brian, I was just wondering why you flipped so quickly on someone who went out of their way to save you and why you didn't you didn't give that to Talon, who you stayed loyal to and didn't vote out.
So first of all, your name was the hardest name to write down this entire game. And I was not going to do it until Talon, 10 seconds before Tribal, said that his idol was fake and that he was voting for you. By him telling me that, I knew that voting with him would build trust between Allison, Sydney, and Milena and help them think that they would be able to work with me from there on. And I want to apologize. I never would have done that on my own accord, but it was what I felt would get me another step further and paint a bigger target on Talon's back as opposed to my own.
Cookie, this is another question about my vote out. I'm sorry. I talk about myself a lot. When I thought Talon's idol was real and I thought that he had given it to you, and then you go and you play it on yourself, even though you know I'm getting votes. You know you're not getting votes for this tribal. What was up with that? I'm still confused by that.
I was trying to be the agent of chaos at that vote and the next vote. Honestly, I had a lot of eggs and I was just flipping them all in the air. You know what I mean? So when I pulled this out and played it on myself, it was all in an attempt to put an even bigger target on Talon's back, just in case like a Brian or even a Jemima would be going, oh, I might be flipping on them. And I was going to sell this fake idol story to the end. I made this up. Talon didn't give me anything. I didn't get given anything by anyone. That was just kind of like a ploy to put an even bigger target on Talon's back and try and make it seem like I felt that I felt betrayed.
Jemima, I have two really quick questions for you. One, you said like going into this game, my first idea was to have a ride or die, and then you didn't say who it was. So I'm just curious who it was.
I'd say to start, I'll tell you that it never solidified itself until New Thunderbird. I feel like I had three people who I'm like, depending on how the game goes, that would be the person I'd settle on. So I didn't settle on a ride or die until New Thunderbird.
And also, I advocated for you a bit on the jury, but one thing I heard was that people didn't necessarily agree with your attitude towards the game. They felt like you kind of didn't really care about things, and I mean, I saw it too. Like you missed one of our Zoom calls we set up, so I was a little confused. So I would like it if you could prove me wrong and tell me that you did care about this game and how like your actions prove that.
Oh, sure. That kind of attitude is, first of all, I was very serious about this game, and I still am. But that kind of attitude is just, it appears like that because that's like kind of just how I am. When I say I'm chill, I really am just that chill. But I was definitely into this game, and I was very in tune with this game. You know, you said something at the beginning about how you didn't think this was very strategic and that it was more, that's why you wanted to focus on the social thing. But that's kind of why I wanted to sit next to two social players, is because I knew this particular jury would appreciate strategy more. And one people thing that I did really well was that I had very good reads on people. I think I had very good reads on people, and that's how I knew that Sydney had the idol. I knew after my very first Zoom call with Crystal, that the idol was in between one of those three, between Crystal, Brian, or Talon, because she didn't seem worried at all. And even with the Sydney idol, I told Zach during that Zoom call, I said, Zach, Sydney has it. And the next vote, Zach goes out because Sydney has the idol. So I had very good reads on people. And then strategically wise, I feel like I couldn't always make the move because I was adapting to moves that I felt people made that were bad. Like Talon's move to get you out, I did not agree with that at all, especially even just for him. He took out his last shield. And one thing that I did really well is that I always had a shield up until the very last moment. So I feel like I had to adjust to bad gameplay sometimes, just things that didn't make sense. So I feel like I had to play a more adaptable game than lead the charge from the front lines game. Yeah.
All right. So my question is to all three of you. So I just want to know why the people beside you deserve to win this game more than you deserve to win this game.
Yeah, I think Cookie deserves to win this game because he was able to maneuver himself from different tribes and was able to socially connect to people and make sure that his name wasn't on the ballot until the very end. And for Jemima, I think she was able to almost flawlessly be able to play both sides and to not still have her go out of this game knowing that the people left. There might be people writing her name down, but she was still going to stay regardless because we all needed her in this game. And she was someone who was able to strategically and socially maneuver herself in a way that I don't think anyone else on the jury did.
Yeah, one thing about why Jemima should win, I mean, we came into the merge at an 8-4 disadvantage, Pobieta Thunder Chicken. And Jemima was just able to just put herself in such a great position, kind of like in the middle where she had information coming on both sides of the river were flowing for her. And she, you know what I mean? She was able to logically make the best decision for herself and then get the people that she didn't vote with still on her side. When it comes to Brian, dude played an incredible kind of like quiet type of game, and he has to now kind of like blast it on the speakers, you know. I mean, he was able to he was not the person behind the wheel, but he was nudging a lot of different people to be behind it, and that put him in a fantastic position socially, as not a lot of people are going to feel bitter about him, but I'd say that he had just as equal as a hand in a lot of the votes, just not being so loud about it and so rambunctious about it.
I think Brian played a very, very, very social game, and people sometimes, especially in the superfan community, like to act like that's a diss or something. But if it was easy to play a great social game, then everyone would do it and everyone would win with it. So the way that he just an amazing social game. If it was easier to do it, everyone would do it, and I think that's a very big testament to his game. Cookie, I can't think of one time in all the tribals that I went to with him, which is all but one, where he was ever truly in trouble. And again, if that were easy, everyone would do it. I can't think of one where he was ever truly in trouble, and he did that better than anyone sitting here.
I would like to start off by saying, Brian, I think the way you described your game as frictionless is the best description out of the two others. I think you ended up playing such a smooth game, and you had a nice mix between being strategical but also masterfully social. Cookie, love you, man, but I feel like you played chaotic, which obviously was your plan, but I want to know from you, what was your thought when going into the whole chaos strategy? Did you think people would respect it, or did you think it would just help you get farther?
With the whole chaos thing just kind of going ham, and it was all to try and paint a character to everyone else. I know at the final 7, numbers are limited and options to vote people out are limited. And while I hadn't been in a position of feeling like I was getting voted out, I knew that very easily that could flip so like a pancake, it could flip that onto me. So what I was trying to paint at that tribal was that I was playing emotional, that I was losing my mind, that I was kind of out of control, when in reality, I knew what buttons chaotically I was pressing. I knew what I was doing. There was a calm mind behind it, but I was trying to make it seem like that I was just kind of fidgety and in trouble,
Jemima, you played really well. You played both sides, but I also feel like it was a little chaotic from what I saw personally playing in the game. So could you help simplify to me on how that worked?
I feel like first of all, the reason that my game may seem a little chaotic is because of how chaotic this game actually was. The first 3 tribals I went to were, in a word, ridiculous. I mirrored a lot of things in this game. So I feel like that's what you saw reflected in my gameplay. That I mirror vote, only some of you will know this, but I played off of Zach perfectly. Like, we knew exactly what we were doing. We knew that idol was fake, and we were just playing off of each other. Cookie, when he went wacko, I knew exactly what he was doing. I played off of him. Crystal played in a way that, and a lot of people said it in the game, she speaks like she's telling you and not like she's playing with you. And so I played off of that in a way. If she's telling me, let me be very receptive, even though I know exactly what's going on in the back of her head. Allison played in a very honest, Ethan's on kind of way. So let me appeal to her in the most genuine fashion that I can, in that I really appreciate the person that you are. I won't write your name down. And that's what I tried to find with almost everyone in this game. So I really think I played a game that mirrored things well, and that was very adaptable, changing to the situations that constantly change in this game.
So I'm gonna start with Brian. You said you have a social game, but you never talked to me. The only time we actually really started talking was when I started scrambling. So did you account for the amount of people you weren't gonna use that strategy on in the jury?
I'm gonna be honest, I didn't fully account for it. And I truly apologize about that, because you were truly like one of the coolest, sweetest people. And I think you played the best game out of like almost anyone here. And so that's why I had to write your name down at the final 5. And as far as the rest of that goes, I felt like my position in the game, if I were to reach out to, let's say, Sydney, Allison, and Milena more than I thought that I like should have, then I feel like that would have taken away trust from my core alliance.
And Cookie, same deal. Did you think about that before?
Yeah, I did, but at the same time, it's like you kind of have to be careful of what you say and to who, because they can so easily just flip on you. It wasn't until later on in the game where I set up a Zoom with you 3 and I was finally able to talk to you that I saw that wasn't the case. And that was a mistake on my part. I had a really bad read on that. And if I did it differently, I would have reached out to you and Sydney.
Rounding up, last person, Allison, go ahead.
When I watch Survivor, I always worry about the jury, because the jury seems to have its own like ego tied into who they're going to vote for, and they can be bitter or they can be self-congratulatory. And I'm really trying hard this entire time to separate myself from hurt feelings or whatever. And I keep coming back to the fact that I thought Jemima played an amazing game. I felt like she was able to navigate between two sides in an expert way without ever finding herself being voted out. And if I were watching this as a non-player, I would be very impressed with that. I also think that the fact that Jemima, you won when you needed to win at the end. You navigated both sides expertly. You took an emotional player and never made me feel like my feelings were hurt. I can't say the same for others. And I just really appreciated your gameplay, and I hope I'm making a decision that's not based on my ego, but just saying, I think Jemima, you should win this.
All right, guys. And with that, it is time to vote one last time. All right, guys. We are going to read the votes now. And we're going to announce our very first winner of our very first online game.
All right. First vote. Ryan. Jemima. 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 That's 3 votes Jemima, 1 vote Brian. Winner of Survivor Online Games, Jemima.
This isn't real
Thank you,
Survivor,
guys.
so real quick. Jemima got the rest of all the votes, all right? This is all Jemima. This is all Jemima.
Wow. Thank you guys so much.
Yes. Good job. I tried to get you out. Good job.
Jemima, you close us out. Give a speech.
I just want to say thank you so much. I really want to play Survivor, and this taught me so much. I still have such a long way to go. My mom is going to flip when I tell her. She's been following this since day one. So thank you guys so much. I have so much respect for everybody that I'm looking at right now.
All right, y'all. With that wraps the very first online game. Thank you guys so much for the blood, sweat, the tears, all the times online. Jemima, congratulations. We don't get too many African-American survivors playing in the game, and we surely don't get people who actually win the entire game. Your game was masterful. I'm very proud of you. All right, y'all. It's been a lot of fun. Thank y'all for playing. All right,
All right, bye, guys. Thank you.
Good game.
Hey guys.
Thank you. Congrats, Jemima.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. I appreciate it so much.
Good game, Cookie.
It was a lot of fun.